Hey people, welcome back. In today's session, we are going to talk about the customer types. So who is your customer? First, they need to understand the definition. So customer is anyone who uses your product or services or impacted by your product or services. So anyone who is using your product or services or who is impacted by your product or services is your customer. Now, there are different customer types. So I have written some definitions here. You can see. So first we talk about internal or primary customer. Who are those? So the concept of internal customer was popularized by the quality guru Joseph M. Juran. So in any organization, the next process is the customer. Example, the first step, whenever you have a next process, suppose you are working on step number 1. So step number 2 for the next process is your customer. And for the step number 2, the next process is the step number 3, and that will be your customer. So in any organization, the next process is the customer. Example here, the first step in the manufacturing is the parts and the second step is the assembly of this part. Suppose we are talking about the automobile. So you are getting the part as in first step and the second step is assembling the part. So then assembly is the customer for the manufacturing. Now manufacturing need to meet the requirements of assembly as a customer. Since both manufacturing and assembly, they belong to the same organization. So assembly would be called as an internal customer for the manufacturing. So after assembly, if what it will go to the dispatch. So dispatch will be the internal customer for the assembly. That's how the internal customer concept will work. When you talk about the external or the secondary customer, so external customer is someone who is outside the organization. For example, if you see the company X is making chocolate. And for making the chocolate, they need the number of inputs from the different suppliers Y and the Z. In this case, supplier Y and the Z, the company X is the external customer. Again, if the company X is making the chocolate and this chocolate, it need the number of input from the supplier Y and Z. So in the case, the supplier Y and Z, the company X is the external customer. Now we call as an immediate customer or indirect customer, intermediate or indirect. So now going further, the chocolate are supplied by company X to the retailer R. Then the retailer R is the immediate customer for the company Y or indirect customer. They are intermediate or the indirect. Now who are the direct customer or the consumer? The retailer R then sells this chocolate to the ultimate customer who pays to buy this chocolate for their kids. So kids who are actually eat this chocolate are the consumer or the direct customer. This is how we define it. So customer is anyone who is using your product or services, which can be categorized into internal or primary customer. They are using within the organization. If somebody is using your product or service outside the organization, they are your external or secondary customer. Intermediate customer, when your product is going through some change, like as I was taking the example of automobile. So automobile, when you are dispatching the product from the factory or the bike or car from the factory, it is going to the retailer. So retailer will be your intermediate customer and they are selling this product to the end user, the person who is riding the bike or driving the car. They will be your direct or the consumer. That's about this session, people. I'll see you in the next session. Thank you so much.